About 1/3 of all traffic-related deaths involve a drunk driver.
It's about intervention before lives are lost.
But there's been an increase in impaired driving.
Then something has to be done.
12,429. That's how many Americans died in alcohol-impaired crashes in 2023. One death every 42 minutes. Nearly $300 billion a year in societal costs. So when Congress buried a provision inside a massive infrastructure bill, requiring every new car to monitor your behavior and refuse to let you drive if it flags you as impaired.
So the car dashboard becomes your judge, your jury, and your executioner.
They told us it was about saving lives. But if this is really about stopping drunk drivers, why does the law says nothing about what happens when it gets wrong? Why is there no guaranteed override? And why did 57 Republicans just vote with Democrats to make sure this stays funded? Here's what they want us to believe. In 2021, Congress passed Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. Section 24220 directed NHTSA to require advanced drunk and impaired driving prevention technology in every new vehicle. MADD championed it, naming it the HALT Act after 5 people killed by drunk driver.
With passage of the drunk driving prevention provisions in this bill, we can end drunk driving even faster than the bill which passed the House last year.
NHTSA says it could save over 10,000 lives a year. Even Snopes rated the remote kill switch claims mostly false. But the review focused on whether a literal remote off button exists. That's not what we are going to talk about. And honestly, if that where the story ended, most people wouldn't have a problem with that. But before we go further, if you think that every driver in America should know about this, please hit the like button and subscribe to Carisma. You can share this video with the others as well, because what I'm about to show you is the part that they don't want us to read. But here is the problem.
You can't shut your radio off, so why would you shut that off?
The official story leaves out what the legal text actually requires. NHTSA received over 18,000 public comments and missed its own deadline to finalize the rule. Their December 2024 report to Congress admitted no system currently meets the law's requirements. The technology isn't ready. The rules aren't written. So let's do the Congress clearly didn't. Let's actually read the law. Section 24220 requires a system that, quote, passively monitors the performance of a driver to accurately identify whether that driver may be impaired and can prevent or limit motor vehicle operation.
How do you appeal that? Do you press a button on the dashboard? Do you start talking to an AI?
So let's break that into 4 pieces. First piece, continuous behavioral monitoring. Passively means the system is designed to run automatically. No breath analyzer to blow into, no button to press. It monitors you whether you ask it to or not. The DADSS program, a partnership between NHTSA and 16 automakers, is developing 2 technologies. A breath-based sensor that analyzes alcohol in your exhaled air.
These lights will tell you if you're good to go or over the legal limit.
And a touch-based sensor using infrared spectroscopy through your skin on the steering wheel or start button.
So we can actually analyze the blood alcohol content in a subject.
These aren't breath analyzers you blow into once. These are always-on systems scanning you every single time you sit in driver's seat.
This breakthrough technology can help protect
you and your family.
Second piece, automated intervention. No guaranteed override. The law says the system must prevent or limit motor vehicle operation if an impairment is detected. But the law doesn't guarantee a way for the driver to override the system. Not for medical conditions, not for sensor errors, and not for emergencies. Here is what that means in the real world. Innocent people locked out. DADSS says its sensors target extremely high accuracy, but even a small error rate, scaled across millions of daily trips, could mean thousands of false lockouts nationwide. Sober Americans stranded by their own cars. You are a nurse who just finished a 14 hours night shift. You are exhausted. The camera flags your drooping eyes as impairment. It's 3 a.m. Your car won't start. You are a diabetic whose blood sugar drops. Your hands tremble on the steering wheel. The touch sensor reads an anomaly. You are locked out on a rural highway with no cell service. Or you are a parent rushing a sick child to the ER at 2 a.m. You are stressed. Your eyes are red. The camera flags you. Your car refuses to move. Online critics have already dubbed this kill switch jail. And right now, there is no guaranteed way out of it. The third piece, data generation at massive scale.
A warning today that new cars could be vulnerable to cyber attacks.
I've been doing this for 30 years, and this is the most frightening issue that I've ever worked on.
Your car is already recording more about you than you realize. Location, every stop, braking patterns, acceleration. According to industry analysts, up to 25 gigabytes of data per hour. Now add driver-facing cameras, breath analysis, and behavioral tracking on top of that. The law includes privacy protections against sharing data without consent, but those protections are only as strong as the enforcement behind them. Early driver monitoring systems have already flagged normal behavior, like checking mirrors or adjusting the radio as inattention. The line between safety and surveillance disappears fast. Fourth piece, who gets access?
Other posts claim this feature will give police and government authorities the ability to remotely shut off your car.
That doesn't keep legislators from imagining things that they would like to do to infringe on civil liberties.
The law is largely silent about who gets access to this system's data and under what conditions. Privacy advocates, including the ACLU, have raised concerns about always-on vehicle surveillance, warning these systems risk becoming machine vision nannies.
Well, some communities around the country are coming together to fight against what they say is a concerning form of surveillance.
Supporters says the system isn't designed for remote control, and today that's true. But once always-on intervention hardware exists in every new car, expanding what it does isn't a technology problem. It's just a rule change. If this feels familiar, it should. Cars already have data black box recorder that insurers and law enforcement access after crashes.
All of that's going to be recorded, so it gives a lot of powerful information to your insurance company.
BMW tested subscriptions to unlock heated seats already in your car and only reversed course after public backlash. Some lenders can remotely disable vehicles when borrowers miss payments. Over-the-air updates can change how your car behaves without asking permission. Many of those started as an option and became widespread. And now we are adding a system that can automatically prevent you from driving. That's funny.
I'm just going to tell you what's going to happen next. They're going to be shutting your car off when they decide whatever they decide from wherever they decided.
In January 2026, Congress had a chance to stop this. Representative Thomas Massey introduced an amendment to block funding for implementation. It failed 164 to 268. 57 Republicans voted with Democrats to keep it alive. Representative Keith Self called it unbelievably disturbing. As of early 2026, the No-Kill Switches in Cars Act has not advanced out of committee. And here's what most people miss. The government mandate is only one pressure point. There is a second, and it doesn't need Congress at all. Whether it's intentional or not, the financial incentives align perfectly.
Automakers deserve credit for achievements they have made in vehicle safety. We expect the automakers will respond to our new criteria and updated evaluations.
In 2021, the same year this law passed, the insurance industry spent over $150 million on federal lobbying, according to Open Secrets. The IIHS is not a government agency. It's a private organization funded entirely by insurance companies. And it just announced that by 2030, no car earns their Top Safety Peak Plus award without impairment detection. By 2027, they are requiring intelligent speed assistance, systems that warn or slow your car when you exceed the limit.
The ISA uses telematics, which collects and transmits data on vehicle use, like tracking the car's location and speed.
And if Congress defunds Section 24220 tomorrow, this private rating system is likely to pressure automakers to install it anyway. And guess what? We'll pay for it, obviously.
Mayor Eric Adams says it's essential to making our streets safer.
IIHS estimates around $200 per vehicle at scale, but full systems with cameras and sensors could cost far more, on top of an average new car price already exceeding $50,000. And here's what to watch for: insurance discounts tied to driver monitoring, financing the bundle compliance tech into your loan.
I don't know about the amounts, but they're definitely going to enforce it.
Subscriptions that lock safety features behind a paywall, and terms of service granting third-party access to your driving data. The concern critics raise, and the one that this law cannot answer, is that this is far beyond drunk driving. We already have 31 approved ignition interlock systems for convicted offenders. Those work. Those require due process. The risk is normalizing a system where your car automatically decides whether you can drive.
They have to blow into a breathalyzer, and if they have pretty much any positive alcohol, the car won't start.
Today it's alcohol, tomorrow it's speed, and once that hardware is standard, the only question left is who writes the next update. So what do you think about this law? Do you agree with me or not? Do you have any concerns about this law or not? Please drop in the comment below. If you enjoy watching this video, please consider watch these two related videos as well. If you think that I'm delivering something of value, please hit the like button and subscribe to Carisma. That would be a huge help for us. I'm Saeed. You've just watched Carisma. Thank you very much, and I will catch you up in the next one. Thank you.